I was tagged by a good friend of mine, Jason from Huck Outdoors, to share 5 things about me that you don't know. I'll go ahead and link his 5 things about him that I didn't know that down in the description. So it should be a fun thing to do. A lot of you know me just from the backpacking videos, gear videos, this channel essentially. So it'd be pretty cool to share a few things about me that nobody really knows. So here we go. Let's go ahead and get into number 1. Number 1 is I am a senior web developer / designer for a company. Have been working for them going on 18 years now. The reason why I say web developer / designer / developer, whatever you want to say, is nowadays you either are one or the other. It's rare that you do both, but I come from a background back when I got into it, it was still a rare job. A lot of people didn't do it, so I basically learned how to design and develop and basically work my way up in the company I am at now into a high position, senior basically web designer developer. So that's been pretty fun. It's a creative outlet for me. I come from a creative family, and my dad's a professional watercolor artist. He was an art director for Pacific Bell Yellow Pages for about 25 years before they went away from paper and he retired. But yeah, it's been a good thing. So every job has its ups and downs. You have your frustrations or whatnot, but at the end of the day, I get to be creative. I get to create things on a daily basis. Yeah, it's a big responsibility. I work for the same company, but we own 3 very large websites. We get in the excess of 1 million visitors per month to each website. So I am fully responsible for all the front-end web development of all of those websites and the design. Basically, you got to make sure it works on all devices, mobile, phones, tablets, any desktop size. Back in the day when I first got into it, you really didn't have to worry about any of that at all. All you had to worry about was a screen monitor size, which back then the average was about 1024 pixels wide. Smartphones didn't even exist when I first got into the job. So yeah, that's been an interesting development over the years. It has become more complex, the job, but I mean, with that comes rewards. So yeah, it's always an exciting thing, new endeavors, basically every day on the web. So it's a cool job, and yeah, I'm going to be doing this probably for the rest of my life. So yeah, that's number 1. Number 2, I am a animal lover. I have 3 pets. I have a cat and 2 dogs. My cat, don't ask, she has a funny name, but long story, but Spalutnio, we call her Spoonie for short. I got her when I was 19 years old, so she is 21 years old now. You can do the math of my age there, find out how old I am. Yeah, Spoonie she's been a good cat. She's had her struggles lately. I mean, she still eats and she still has her appetite, but she's gone fully blind and she has accidents every now and then. But yeah, I love that cat. She's been with me since the beginning, basically since I've been on my own. When I moved out at 18 and I got her at 19. So yeah, she's been a good cat. And then my 2 dogs, Izzy and Marvin. Izzy is 10 years old and Marvin is 8 years old. I got Izzy when I first moved into my home about 10 years ago from the local animal shelter. I wanted a dog. I wanted a dog of my own. We always had dogs at home with my parents, and I got her, and for about a year she was with me for about a year, and my brother ended up moving with me because he was going through a financially hard time at that time, and he would send me messages daily, like all the time, emails, text messages back when you had to push like the button 3 times, things like that. But he would send me all these messages about how dogs are pack animals and we need to get her a friend. So finally I gave in. I was like, why not? Let's go down to the animal shelter and see what's going on down there. And came across Marvin. I instantly thought he was a really good looking dog. Had a good personality. We did like a little meet and greet. They didn't even really pay attention to each other all the time. And but now they're best buds, and yeah, you can't separate those 2 dogs. So I am an animal lover. I love seeing on Facebook stories of when animals are rescued, like a dog is rescued from a bad situation, and then they kind of rehabilitate it and show its progress, and then what it looks like, months later, or when dogs are reunited with their owners that have gone overseas to protect our country. Just seeing like the reaction of the dogs. I haven't seen their owner for someone that's been deployed for 6 months to a year. I love seeing that stuff, man. It always gets me emotional seeing it too. So yeah, I got a little bit of a softer side to me, just so you know. But yeah, that's number 2. So let's go ahead and get to number 3. Number 3 has something to do with backpacking. Back in 2003, which was when I first took my first backpacking trip ever, I had a friend that worked at Saddlebag Lake Resort, which is on the eastern side of Yosemite National Park, on the outside of the park. But it's right there. If you go up the Tioga Pass, it's right where the 21 Lake Basin is. There's a big lake there called Saddlebag Lake, and they don't do it anymore because they've sold it, and there's been a lot of snow and there's damage to the property. But what they used to do is they would drive a boat, a big pontoon boat, across the lake that would taxi people back to the basin that's back there with all the lakes. So his responsibility was, like, he lived there for a couple summers because his parents knew the owners at the time, and his responsibility was to drive the boat back and forth all day. So he knew the area very well. He would hike it all the time, and he came up with this idea, like, hey, let's go backpack from Saddlebag, and we go over the pass to McCabe Lake, stay at McCabe Lake, and then go up and over another pass to Roosevelt Lake, and then down to Tuolumne, where all the there's a couple other lakes down there that we went and visited. It was like a 3-day 27-mile trip, something like that. Yeah, I was absolutely unprepared for this trip. I had no idea what backpacking was, other than stuff I saw in movies. Zero interest in what backpacking was at the time, and it was absolutely miserable. I went and bought a pack from Big 5, all the low lifters and straps. I had no idea what they did, so I hated the fact that they were hanging everywhere, so I taped them all up, never used them properly. I would bring like a cotton hoodie with me, a Coleman lantern. We went to the local Army surplus store, got a bunch of MREs, the ones that are in the big old cardboard boxes, and had this, actually lugged those around inside of our packs. It was just, and those were absolutely terrible. I mean, you think Mountain House is bad or whatever. Mountain House is awesome in comparison to this stuff. I mean, I like Mountain House. I don't think it's bad at all, but I heard people complain about it. But you have to try this stuff, and then you'll be like, okay, yeah, this actually freeze dry stuff is pretty good, because they come in these little packets, and you put water in it, and it would heat up the contents of what's in it, and about 50% of the time it would work. So, the spaghetti you could deal with when it was cold, but the turkey and gravy, yeah, one of the nights that did not heat up, and that's what I had to eat, and it was like, oh my gosh, the worst thing ever. Yeah, we didn't even pack lunches or anything like that. It was just a terrible, terrible trip. So fast forward 10 years or so, because that's about how long I went without even like having it enter my mind that I was going to ever backpack again. A friend of mine approached me and was like, hey, we're going on this annual trip. Do you want to come along? And I was like, yeah, all right, I'll give it a shot. And it was still difficult. We went to Garnett Lake in the Sierra Nevada and stayed there for 5 days, 4 nights. And it was difficult getting there for me. I mean, I wasn't brought up in a hiking family. We never really went in the mountains. We're really a beach family. So it was quite a different experience, but it was more enjoyable that time. So a couple more years, like every year we would do that. I would start honing in my gear and lightening my load. And finally, fast forward to today, I mean, I absolutely love backpacking, but I got my gear dialed in. So if you're watching this and you've had a similar experience to what I've had, continue to dial that gear in. It gets better, and the more you hike, the stronger you get, and it's just it pays off because I mean, as all you know, the views you see, the stuff you see when you backpack is absolutely amazing. Yeah, so that's number 3. All right, number 4. I might surprise a lot of people with this one. From the ages of about 10, 11 to 21, I was really into surfing, big time. My dad used to surf Doheny back before they put the breakwater in the 60s, was a well-known surfer there, was in Surfer Magazine back in the day. I mean, gosh, this was 50 years ago, whatever, probably more than that. Yeah, it was, he went and took me down to one of his buddy's shops in Carlsbad. He was a ding repair, the Ding King, Buttons, and Buttons Home Freight. And he took me to his shop, and he had all these boards everywhere, and I was about 10 or 11 years old, and he took me, and he was like, he gave us a couple boards, my brother and I. And from that point on, for about a decade, that's all I ever wanted to do was surf. So I picked it up. I picked it up pretty quick. And then for years and years and years, I would surf all the time. When I got my license, I would go after school during the week. We would get out about 2:15, 2:30-ish, and I'd drive to the beach, take about 45 minutes for us. And I would surf until the sun would go down and then drive home. And I did that for years, and basically every Saturday I was at the beach early morning, grabbing some waves in the early session and then heading home by 10 or 11 in the morning. So yeah, it was good times. I loved the lifestyle. I loved everything about it. Yeah, it was really cool. But then work gets in the way. My job, I had to get a real job. I started a career. I moved further away from the beach. We were always a beach family, like I said earlier, but I moved closer to the mountains. I'm literally like 15-20 minutes from the San Gorgonio Wilderness. So when I first moved into my house, I was just getting back in the hiking and backpacking, and I didn't realize the gold mine that I had at the time until recently, the past like 4 or 5 years. I realize now it's like, wow, I got a full-on wilderness right in my backyard. So it was a good trade-off, I mean, I'd give surfing a go again, but I love going in the mountains, man. That is my thing now. Just the adventure part of it, getting out, the solitude a lot of times when you go by yourself, the camaraderie with your friends. It's amazing. So that was number 4. All right, number 5 is I love to cook. I enjoy staying home and making a meal and cooking something up. I do all kinds of different things. I like to do a lot of fusion where I kind of come up with these creations on my own. I like to make different style of tacos that aren't just Mexican type tacos. I do like, Indian tacos or teriyaki tacos, different types of Italian dishes, manicotti, lasagna, you got all your staples there. Obviously Mexican food. Love making Mexican food. All different types of things. But one thing I really do love is I love to smoke, barbecue different types of meats. So I've been doing that for about 10 years. I've had I had a bullet smoker, a box smoker, where you build up the fire inside and you kind of feed it with the firewood and all that you soak in water. I've done many things with those, had parties, invite people over to come eat my pulled pork or whatever. Did that for many years, but as of recent, I broke down, and I guess some people can say I'm cheating, but I got myself a fake Traeger, not a real one because I couldn't afford the real one, but it's a fake Traeger. But basically what that is a pellet smoker to where it has a hopper on the side that automatically it loads in the pellets as you smoke the meat and kind of keeps it at a consistent heat, and it just turns out amazing every single time. I got different types of woods that you could do. You could do mesquite, hickory, alder, cherry, peach, applewood. I've tried all different types. All of it's great, but it's really fun to do that kind of stuff and then feed people and see their reactions when they eat it. That's like one of my most favorite parts about making food is seeing the people eat it, their reaction, and if they like it. And yeah, that really is great when it's a success. So those are 5 things that you didn't know about me. I'm happy to share that. That was fun for you to get to know me more than just hiking and backpacking. Yeah, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to tag 3 people that I know that I actually want to learn more about. Yeah, so here we go. Steve, Tuba Solo. I'd like to know 5 things about you that I don't already know, or a lot of your friends already know, and obviously your subscribers don't already know. Yeah, that'd be great if you could go ahead and share that with us. Love to get to know more about you. Secondly, I like to tag Robert with 5 more minutes. Robert, I always find you to be an interesting guy. You're very creative. You do a lot of great work, and I'd like to know more about you. So why don't you go ahead and share with us 5 things about you that we don't know. And lastly, I like to tag Anthony Sardania, ultralight backpacker. Anthony, you better do this one, man. I'm counting on you. But yeah, I love to know more about you. 5 things about you that we all don't know and that you can share to the world. That'd be great. Anyways, I'm gonna go ahead and put a link to all their channels down below. I'll put a link to Jason's video, that the one that he tagged me in, down below as well, so you can see that. And thank you everybody for watching. I appreciate it. If you're not a subscriber, feel free to subscribe. I'm gonna be bringing out a lot more content. Like this video, comment below. I'd love to hear what you have to say, negative or positive. Yeah, that'd be great. So anyways, you guys all have a good week, and see you on the next one.